The combustion engine ban is coming up, and car makers are racing to retrofit their traditional gas-powered cars into electric vehicles. It's just a matter of time and EVs will be taking over the world. So here's a question. What will happen to gas stations? Today we're looking at the big picture and the bigger problems. We'll see where the average gas station makes the most profit, and let me just shock you now. It's not from the sale of gasoline. Stick around to see where the real money's at. I'll also show you how gas stations have evolved into what they are today, but I'll also talk about what they need to do to redefine themselves in the EV era. Here's the problem. Pumping gas into your car is a relatively quick and easy job, but recharging an EV is a whole different story. Let's put this into perspective. On average, it takes less than 5 minutes to refuel your car with gas. So in 30 minutes, one gas pump can serve 6 cars. If the average gas station has, let's say, 10 pumps, well, that's 60 cars that get serviced in half an hour. On the other hand, in that very same half hour, one EV charging port will service only one EV. To service 60 EVs in 30 minutes, the charging station needs to have 60 chargers. In other words, it takes at least 6 times longer to recharge an EV compared to refueling gas in a combustion engine car. So logic says we need 6 times more charging ports than the current number of gas pumps we have. The average gas station with 10 gas pumps will need to find a way to add 60 charging ports if it wants to service the same quality of vehicle. And that's where the big problems begin. But to look into the future, first we have to consider the past. At the beginning of the 20th century, gas-powered vehicles were gaining popularity. And soon one thing became crystal clear. America needs a more organized, structured way of servicing fuel to the growing number of vehicles. Just step back and imagine living in a time when gas stations weren't as readily accessible as they are today. Let's say you happen to be one of the lucky few who could afford a gas-powered vehicle back then. When it was time to fill up, you didn't have many options to choose from. Back then, you'd need to visit a hardware store to fill up your tank. And finding one of these special hardware stores was a task of its own. Once you arrived, you wouldn't see a self-service gas pump. No, instead the servicemen would pour the gasoline into your car by using a 1 to 5 gallon jug or bucket. I mean, it really was full service manual labor. Around 1915 was when we first saw the primitive self-service gas pumps. But the process was rather complicated to use. Plus, there wasn't an automatic shutoff. So that meant you could end up spilling gas all over the ground and even on yourself. The process was just very manual, not to mention a possible fire hazard. So you can see why self-service wasn't popular. It didn't hit mainstream back then. In fact, it was actually prohibited in most of the U.S. based on state fire codes. But then came 1939. A man named Richard C. Corson was watching a worker at a loading dock fill a barrel with gasoline. He was appalled at how the manual way was inefficient and a great waste of time. Surely there had to be a better way. Well, they say some of the most brilliant ideas come when you're in the bathroom. So too, Richard Corson had this eureka moment when he heard the toilet flush. That's when he realized the solution to the problem. The butterfly float. In case you don't know, that's what tells the toilet to stop filling up with water. Anyway, that became the inspiration for the basis of the concept that ultimately led to the invention of the automatic cutoff feature we see in gas pumps today. In 1964, John Roscoe started offering self-service fueling in Colorado. This time it really kicked off, and as they say, the rest is history. Today, self-service is a norm in the U.S., well, except in New Jersey, where it's still prohibited. Funny enough, gas stations today don't just fill your car with gas, but they also fill our stomachs. The typical modern gas station has a convenience store where you can get your sugar and salt highs. I'm talking sodas, candy, pastries, potato chips, hot dogs, you name it, they got it. By the way, speaking of which, there's a gas station chain in America that holds various world records. I'm talking about Buc-ee's. And no, this isn't a paid promotion, but just some fun fact. The Buc-ee's gas station in New Braunfels, Texas is so big it has 120 pumps. If you want to imagine just how large this gas station is, think a football field. And that location also holds the title for the world's largest convenience store at 66,335 square feet. Just imagine your average super Walmart and take 37% of its size. That's how massive it is. For example, most Americans find meat at a grocery store. But at the meat counter at Buc-ee's, they carry all sorts of dried meat jerky. And that's not even half of it. The Buc-ee's is so large, it's a tourist attraction of its own. Anyway, the chain is currently building a larger convenience store in Sevierville, Tennessee, which will soon take the world title and glory. But you know, Texas, they want everything big, and they want their title back soon. Why Buc-ee's is building an even bigger store in Luling, Texas, which will eventually boast 75,000 square feet. So Tennessee's days are numbered. Meanwhile, the Buc-ee's in Katy, Texas, just east of Houston, holds the title for world's longest car wash. It clocks in as 255 feet of conveyor, which is 70% the length of an NFL football field. I remember when my sons were little, they loved car washes in general, but this is like taking your kids to the ultimate theme park of car washes. I'm talking all sorts of washes, scrubbers, and multicolored foam. It only takes 5 minutes to run your car through, and the conveyor can fit 16 cars at once. It's like turning a regular chore into entertainment. Anyway, coming back to the real world, ever wonder how much money a gas station makes from gas? I can tell you, it's not nearly as much as you might think. For simplicity, let's say gas is $4 a gallon. Crude oil costs over half the final price you pay for gas at the pump. Then there's the refining cost of about 50 cents. And don't forget all sorts of taxes, around 15%. Then 8% of cost goes to transporting the gas to the gas station. The gas station tax on a markup of around 7%. And there you have it. Bottom line, which is a shocker to many Americans, gas stations don't make much profit from the sale of gas. Actually, most of their profits come from sales inside the convenience stores. Now you understand why Buc-ee's does what it does. Gas stations keep the gas prices competitive to draw cars in. Reason is, there's very little consumer loyalty in the gas industry. In fact, most Americans fill up at the cheapest station nearby. It's as simple as that. Anyway, it turns out that more than 50% of the people who come to a gas station also go inside the convenience store. And that's where the money's at. That's why it's very rare to see a gas station without a convenience store these days. If you can think back to the 70s and 80s, you might recall that gas station convenience stores only sold that bare bones basics like cigarettes and sodas, or as the cool kids called it, smokes and cokes. Back then, gas station convenience stores didn't carry much beyond that. It's only in the last 20 years or so that we've seen a big shift where gas stations started merging with convenience stores. But it's not just that. The variety and quality of food has increased. Across the states, it's not uncommon to find gas stations that serve options like pulled pork and mac and cheese, to omelets and black-eyed pea hummus, whatever that is, and even smoothies. It's gotten to the point that some people now choose their favorite gas station based on which gas stations make the better sandwich. Imagine that. And believe it or not, it's also common to see people eat out every week at their favorite gas station. I can tell you right now, it wasn't like that when I was growing up. At least a third of the people who go inside a gas station convenience store end up buying something to eat too. Some of the food items these customers are buying have a gross profit margin of over 50%. Funny enough, it's the younger crowd that plays a big part in buying these kinds of food at gas stations. A study in 2019 found that 43% of Americans aged 18 to 29 bought more food from convenience stores than they did 3 years before. Another study a year prior found that restaurant-style foods made up 23% of total gas station sales across the country. But now there's a storm brewing, and it's the market shift. Right now, there are some 100,000 gas stations in the U.S. alone. Around 93% of Americans live within a 10-minute drive from a gas station. So what'll happen to all these gas stations as more cars turn electric? Some believe that many gas stations will eventually turn to being convenience stores alone. That doesn't sound unreasonable, but here's the thing. If convenience stores don't have gas to draw cars in, how will they survive? Some gas stations may convert to EV charging stations, but remember, if they want to service the same volume of cars, they'll need to add 6 more ports for every gas pump they presently have. That means they'll need more space. Obviously, it's not a simple or cheap thing to transition into. Remember, too, that charging takes at least 6 times longer than pumping gas. So what will drivers do while they wait half an hour? Americans are not patient people. You see, the customer dynamics is different now. So the gas station needs to redefine its convenience store experience. Personally, I think it's an opportunity to partner with a company like Starbucks. Imagine a Starbucks cafe and convenience store next to an EV charging station. You could call it a super Starbucks of sorts. Now, you might say convenience stores already offer coffee, and yes, that's true. But did you ever drink that stuff? Now think about Starbucks customer base. Many grab and go, but then there's those customers who sit inside their cafes for periods on end, messing with their phones and computers. They're eating, working remotely on their laptops, surfing online, catching up on news, watching videos, or socializing. Imagine doing that while you're waiting for your EV to charge. You can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I mean, what else would you rather do while you're waiting for your car to juice up? For now, the long-term fate of gas stations is uncertain. But there's one inevitability that is certain. Their days are numbered. They need to adapt and change, otherwise they'll face obscurity. But now you tell me, what do you think will happen to gas stations, say 1 or 2 decades from now? Please share by commenting below. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for your support.